Logic. For all the trust we place in it, it's really nothing more than a candle, all too easily snuffed out. And when it is gone, we're left alone in the dark, and everything we would scoff at by daylight suddenly becomes very, very believable. Alright, before I wax too melodramatic, here's my story. I was very young, only 4 or 5 at most, before either of my siblings were born. It was just Mommy and Daddy and me living in our little house in Great Bend, Kansas. Very quaint. We were a young family, without much money, and most of our furniture was secondhand. It was the middle of the day, summer, hot, and boring. I was playing marbles by myself on the thin carpet beside the huge, old, flower-patterned couch. Mom was down the hall in the kitchen, and Dad was at work. Why I was trying to roll marbles around on a carpet, I don't know. We had a perfectly good linoleum floor after all. But there I was, swishing the marbles back and forth, happily bouncing them into each other. Then, in my overzealous enthusiasm, I rolled too hard. My favorite marble, the clear, ruby red one, zipped into the dark space under the couch and was lost. Damn it. Dad wasn't home, and he was the only one strong enough to move that huge old couch for me. I'd have to get my marble back myself. I reached my hand underneath the couch, tentatively at first, then deeper, encountering no marbles. I pulled my hand out in disappointment. Then, a hand reached out from underneath the couch back at me. I remember the image vividly, and I suspect I always will. It was a slim hand with tapered fingers, a woman's hand. It was gnarled and wrinkled, as if aged, and it was dead black. Not black as in African American black, but black as in dead. Of course, back then I didn't know that corpses blacken as they decompose, so I didn't know what the black meant. The hand reached out to me as far as it could, which was just up to its wrist, and then it retreated underneath the couch. Then it emerged again, this time pushing with it a little crumpled up plastic bag with a logo on it I didn't recognize. It waited, as if expecting me to take the bag. Then, when I didn't, it pulled the bag underneath the couch and was gone. I got up and walked down to the kitchen and told my mommy what had happened. Why I didn't run screaming, or at least run, I really don't know. All I could say is I was a little kid. A hand reaching out from under the couch at me didn't seem that huge of a deal. I hadn't yet learned what was and was not permissible in reality. I had no worldview. Mom was skeptical, but walked me back to the couch and explained how I was probably imagining things. She even reached her hand under the couch and convinced me that there was nothing down there. Later on, Dad lifted up the couch for me, and the only thing under it was, of course, my missing marble, plus a few more marbles I didn't remember losing. But here's the scary part. For years, I remembered this. I even developed a little weird fantasy of a little hand and little hand people living underneath the couch. And I, in my childlike innocence, believed that they would catch me and take me away if I ever reached into their domain again. Then, as I grew older, I wrote the memory off as a dream I had as a child. Cute, but silly. Then, a few years ago, I recounted the story to my mother. She gave me a funny look, and then she told me that she remembered it, because after all, she had been there. She told me that she remembered me coming to her in the middle of the day and telling her about the hand underneath the couch, and remembered being highly disturbed by my story, since I was an extremely quiet, well-behaved kid who didn't ever lie. Then she told me about the couch itself. According to her, she and Dad had gotten the couch from an estate of an old woman who actually died on it. This was my first time I'd heard about this, but it sure explained why they got rid of the couch within a month of my story. But here's the truly frightening thing. It even frightens me to this day. The part that I have to try so hard to get out of my mind some nights. Remember the bag that hand pushed towards me? I never forgot the logo that was on it. And recently, I saw the same logo again on what looked like the same type of bag in a hardware store. It was a bag of utility razor blades.